Hi, and welcome to Open, the show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world to you. I'm Jonathan Calixto, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough. Coming up, we speak with the president of the Bronx Economic Development Corporation to learn more about how the Bronx Ball is known as the crown jewel of Bronx Week. Then the Assistant VP of Runaway and Homeless Youth Programs for Rising Ground shares more details on how they are helping support those in need of basic necessities. After that, the Director of Advocacy for Community Access, along with a filmmaker, gives us an inside scoop to this year's Changing Minds Young Filmmaker Film Festival. And finally, an aesthetics and spa/wellness educator talks about the first and only drainage device for face and body known as the lymphatic brush. So stay tuned, all this and much more is headed your way because we're now officially open. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Calixto, and today is Tuesday, May 6th. You are now watching Open, a program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. Don't forget to stay connected with us via social media at BronxNet TV. This year, Bronx Week is starting on May 5th and will continue on until May 18th. At the center of this event is the signature celebration of Bronx Week known as the Bronx Ball, which is taking place on Saturday, May 17th. Joining me now to share more about this event is the president of Bronx Economic Development Corporation, Rob Walsh. Rob, welcome.
Yeah, well, it's good to be with you again.
Yeah, I'm glad to speak with you. I mean, exciting moments as well as we're gearing up for Bronx Week. So before we dive deep into this week, or almost 2 weeks of celebration and the Bronx Ball.
It's the longest week of the year.
Yeah, it's something that we look forward to. With that, I mean, talk to me a little bit about this collaboration, of course, between the Bronx Economic Development Corporation and the Bronx Tourism Council to bring something like this together.
Well, that's great, and we're fortunate. We have a Julius Strick that heads it up. He works hand in hand with me on so many different events, not only during Bronx Week and the Bronx Ball and all the activities that surround that, but all through the year. We just finished a terrific restaurant week where we had 71 restaurants, the largest of its kind. And that was successful in bringing people together. We'll have fireworks during the summer. We have the largest free bike event in the fall, Tour de Bronx. So yes, Bronx Week is one of the events, but we have a number of other signature events that we work hand in hand with.
Yeah. When you talk about obviously this partnership throughout the year of these different events, you know, when we do focus on Bronx Week, how did this collaboration kind of come about and saying like, let's put something like this together for the community?
Well, I wish I could take credit for it. You know, it was not my idea. You know, I did a little bit of homework and research on this. There was actually a Bronx Day, if you could believe this, back in 1925. And it was Fernando Ferrer back in 1997 that said, let's do something to put our best foot forward for the Bronx and highlight the very best, our cultural institutions, our colleges, universities, our small businesses. And if you go up to the concourse, you see the bright now blue signs, 135 of them that stretch from 170th Street down to 138th Street, of folks from the Bronx, of all different artists and sports figures that we have recognized during Bronx Week and the Bronx and the Bronx Ball.
Yeah, you talk about obviously these different staples now that we know as Bronx Week, but having gone from being just a day to a multiple day celebration, what do you say makes it special for Bronxites in our community?
That's a great question. I think the borough president Vanessa L. Gibson talks about this quite a bit. It's not just about the folks who are high profile. It's our teachers. It's the folks who are in labor. It is our youth, our cultural institutions. We just created something called the People's Choice Award to highlight an unsung hero. In the past 2 years, it's been a teacher the first year and then someone from health services. This year, we're focusing on the arts and media. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. You'll be happy about it, though. You know, and that is a way of bringing together the many neighborhoods that make up the Bronx.
Yeah, I do like, I mean, you gave us a great tease right there about, you know, this People's Choice Award.
That's right.
Focusing on media and the arts. What does that say, being able to focus on this category about the cultural landscape in our community as well, and our borough?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I like to look at where you're seeing growth and where are you seeing growth and what is re-energizing our neighborhoods throughout the Bronx. And one of them is the arts and the other is media. BronxNet opened up in the South Bronx. That is a anchor that we could build around. You know, I think about places like Bronx Create Hub that has 90 units of workspaces for artists who are, you know, putting a stake in the ground and growing their businesses, and that creates jobs and that creates activities, and it enlivens and energizes, you know, places. It's interesting to me now of seeing many more tourists who are coming up to the Bronx to kick the tires, if you will.
Yeah.
To look at some of the interesting things that are taking place in Mott Haven, that's happening in Castle Hill and so many other places. And that's what we want to do, grow those small businesses so they become bigger.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is such a central part for creators and like you mentioned, even artists at that. For local businesses and artists, how do they get involved with something like a Bronx Week?
It's a great, you know, Bronx Week starts today, May 6th, and goes through May 18th. On that last day at Marshall Parkway, we will be celebrating the artists through a festival, through music, and through, you know, events that take place. If you look at our website, I need to plug it, it's ilovethebronx.com. You'll see a collection of events that are, and many of them are free events that are taking place. We're not only highlighting the ones that we're organizing, but the ones that are coming out of other groups, and I think that's an important part of it.
Yeah. Now, of course, I mean, you mentioned it, multiple events, multiple celebrations, some of them free even, which is amazing to hear at that for the community. But then we also have this crown jewel, this staple event known as the Bronx Ball. Talk to me a little bit about, obviously, in its 53rd annual celebration, you know, what kind of makes this a special event for our community as well?
Can you believe that, right? One of the things we do every year is we move it around to different places. So last year we were in an old manufacturing site. The year before that was the Bronx Zoo. This year we've taken and re-energized what was an old supermarket on East Chester Road. And we're fortunate we have Rhonda James. You know Rhonda. And Rhonda is magical, the work she does. And we will be having art, and we'll have fashion, and we'll be taking a place, re-energizing it, and you know, bringing together hundreds of folks to celebrate the new additions to the Walk of Fame. We will be highlighting and giving awards on tourism. The borough president will be there to do that. We will be giving a key to the borough, and I can't tell you any of the. I'm dying to tell you the names. I really
we want to know, but we get it. The suspense.
And I think that's part of it. I think that's the fun part of it. And you look around that room, and people are having a good time. They're dancing and they're getting together. And what I've noticed, you know, in the last couple of years, in many ways, it's a reunion.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about also these categories, just like we were talking about the People's Choice Awards, but now also at the Bronx Ball being celebrated, the Bronx Walk of Fame, the key to the borough. How important is it to celebrate these maybe unsung heroes, maybe people who don't sometimes get the spotlight or are on the spotlight but aren't recognized in this way by their borough? Why is that important to have this type of recognition, you'd say?
I think it's important. You know, I served, as you know, for 12 years as the Small Business Services Commissioner, you know, for the city of New York. And I think when you think about the smaller things, the mom and pop shops, the art galleries, the folks who are making a difference in our neighborhoods, this is what adds character. This is what builds neighborhoods. This is what makes our city strong, and this is what makes New York such a special place. To recognize not only the largest anchors, and in our borough it's the Bronx Zoo and the Botanical Gardens, but the ones that are making a difference on the front lines. And I think that has been the real emphasis of the work that we do, the work that the Tourism Council does, and the work that the borough president does, is to put those individuals and those organizations front and center. It's the reason why today we're having the celebration to kick things off at the Museum of Art that is being rebuilt on the concourse.
Wow. Yeah, and I mean, I think with that as well, right, you're mentioning this new location as well that we have here, that some people are maybe even just for the first time discovering it. How important is it, these locations as well, that you choose to have Bronx Week in, you'd say?
Well, it highlights growth. It highlights energy. It sends a message, and too often we read the tabloids, and it's the negative about our city, our borough, and it's a way of putting forward the positive energy and activity that's taking place in the Bronx.
Yeah. Now, of course, you've given us so many great teasers that we can look forward to. If people want to be a part of this fun, where can they go? Let's plug it one more time.
Let's go back to that website, ilovethebronx.com. They will find a collection of activities, and I would say not just for Bronx Week, but all year round. We're a lot more active on social media. We're active on Instagram. We are constantly, highlighting the good that is taking place in the Bronx.
Yeah. Something earlier, too, that you mentioned was kind of how this opportunity to showcase these local businesses, these mom and pop shops, these local heroes that we have as well. Having something like a Bronx Week, how does that support the mission of the BXEDC, the Bronx Tourism Council? How does that kind of help that mission and that kind of support get out there more?
Well, that's another great question. We're teaming up with the BronxNet right now on something called the BX Factor, where we're taking 5 startup entrepreneurs in a pitch contest, and we're highlighting their work. We're going to give a $15,000 prize at the end of this. To me, I end up meeting some really special people who I had not met before, who are doing some great things and want to grow in the Bronx. And in some cases, those folks need capital. We also do that. We do low interest loans. So it gives us a picture, if you will, into what is taking place in the Bronx and what is growing. And I think for many people, it's like, wow, I can't believe this architectural firm or this technology firm or this new bakery has opened up in the Bronx. I need to go there and see it.
Yeah. Now, of course, as we are wrapping up as well, Rob, you know, a quick little overview. You've been a part of Bronx Week. You've been a part of seeing this grow into what it is now. What is your favorite part about getting to do something like this every year?
Well, for me, it's every time I go out to a different neighborhood, I see something differently, and often through somebody else's eyes. A new shop that has opened up, a new individual that is making a difference. Recently, I was introduced to the Renaissance Youth Center that serves 4,000, youth in the Bronx. That to me is special. It's around every corner. There is something new and exciting taking place in the Bronx.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like you mentioned, just that special focus in itself, but Bronx Week in itself focuses on so many different special parts of the Bronx. So we're excited and we're looking forward to it.
And we're grateful to the BronxNet for being a partner of it. We really are. You guys are high energy on this, and it helps us quite a bit. So thank you.
Definitely. Well, again, thank you so much, Rob, for being here with us today.
Appreciate it.
Now, to learn more about the Bronx Ball, please visit the website ilovethebronx.com. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Open after this.
gonna start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at BronxNet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at bronxnet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express Thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit bronxnet.org/education and become a producer by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
Welcome back. The organization Rising Ground is holding an essentials drive to support homeless young people by providing them with personal care items, cleaning supplies, clothing, and much more. These items are not only essential for maintaining good health, but also help boost confidence and bring a sense of normalcy to the lives of the thousands of young people supported by Rising Ground's Runaway homeless youth programs. Please join me now in welcoming the Assistant VP for the Runaway and Homeless Youth Programs at Rising Ground, Jeffrey Moore. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for being here with us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, now, of course, we are talking about an important cause. But to start off, give me a little bit of an overview on Rising Ground, what the organization is about and its focus.
Okay, so Rising Ground, we are a human service organization. We've been around for about 194 years. We started off as an orphanage, and over the years, we've kind of expanded to serve a lot of different programs. Rising Ground started doing the Runaway and Homeless Youth programs back in 2018. We started with about 2 programs for about 40 youth, and today we have about 12 programs. 10 of them are residential programs where we have about 180 beds for young people where they can live and stay for 2 years or until their 21st birthday. And then we have 2 drop-in centers in Queens that we serve thousands of youth where it's not residential programs, but the youth can come, get off the street, get food, shelter, clothing for temporary situations, and then it allows them to kind of get transferred into a different residential program where they can actually stay and have somewhere permanent that they can work and go to school and not have to worry about where they're going to sleep at night.
Right, and with this important work, I mean, for people who may not understand even the need for it, what is the experience like of a young person who may be experiencing homelessness in New York City?
Yeah.
You know, can you paint that picture a little bit for us?
For sure. So, I mean, I think youth homelessness is really something that we're just starting to see the severity of. There's a lot of youth right now who are homeless, but they might be staying on an aunt's couch, right? And so in their minds, they may not consider themselves homeless, but at any moment, the aunt could tell them, you gotta go. And so in those situations, where do they go? And so that's what our programs are really for. There's a lot of youth who are sleeping in abandoned buildings, you know, sleeping on trains. There's a lot of youth who are going to school every day and the teachers see them in clothes that they wore yesterday. And in those situations, those youth more than likely are struggling with housing stability. So a lot of the time, there's a lot of youth that are homeless that we don't really know. And then there's also a lot of youth that are in programs throughout the city like mine that the young people are able to stay in a group home setting, but they are on their own. They tend to not get support from their parents, from their guardians. They're working, going to school. They're trying to, you know, really make it on their own. And they could be as young as 16 years old. And then we have a couple of programs for young people who are up to 24. So there's a range of young people kind of going through this experience in our city and really all over the country.
And when you talk about obviously seeing this rise in homelessness, especially within the youth specifically, you are launching now this special initiative called the Essential Drive. Obviously, we're seeing, and you're telling us about the urgency, but why is it important more than ever now to have something like this to support them?
Definitely. So the main thing that we see when young people come into our programs is they might have one bag, right? They might have the clothing on their back. They might have, you know, a couple of things in their book bag, but that's it. And so a lot of time, and they don't have any money. They don't have a job. A lot of the young people come to us with very little. And so what we find ourselves having to do as a program is provide them with those things, right? A lot of times a young person could come to us and not have any underwear. And so we have to go and buy them underwear, which puts a strain on the program. And so one of the things that we try to do with the Essentials Drive is, help raise awareness for the needs of the young people and try to have people in the community support the program and the young people through these type of donations. And this is something that we're launching here at Rising Ground. It's going to be going through the middle of June. Okay. And so we're hoping to really get a lot of necessities, things for the young people, so that way we can kind of support them as they transition into our programs. And then for those of the youth who are going to be moving out of our programs, we want to also be able to give them some stuff, so that way when they get to their own apartments, they don't have to start from zero.
Yeah, when you talk about that focus as well of how the community can even step in to help, what are the essential items needed right now as part of this Essential Drive?
Okay, so definitely clothing, undergarments, underwear. A lot of young people come to us and they might have no clothes for job interviews. So nice shirts, nice slacks, shoes. A lot of times we also try to get stuff for young people who are moving into their apartments. So like care packages such as like first aid kits, cookware sets. Cookware sets are very important because a lot of young people, once they move into their first apartment, they have to eat cup noodles and they have to kind of really find ways for them to make their own meals. So if we can get cookware sets, those are very helpful. Cleaning supplies. A lot of young people, when they first move into their apartment or when they're in their own rooms, right, they want to have access to cleaning supplies so that way they can keep the space clean, because if you're in a cleaner space, you feel better, right? A lot of young people also need book bags. A lot of young people need socks. Socks is a big thing as well. So just anything that you see yourself needing on a daily basis, those are really the things that we find our young people need and benefit from. And as they get those things, they're able to focus on other aspects of their lives, which makes, just dealing with the homelessness a lot easier for them.
Yeah, something that I found helpful as well is that you do have an Amazon list for people, obviously, absolutely, to know what to contribute to. But people can also create their own type of drives. Talk to me about how people can go about setting this up and obviously helping in their own way.
For sure. So the best way to support us and get involved is if you go to our website, risingground.org. As soon as you go to the website, there's a pop-up on the screen and it takes you to the information on how to go through and order things through the Amazon list, but also there's information on how to set up your own drive. In the past, we've had a lot of support from different community providers. This past Christmas, actually, we had an organization go and do, I guess you want to call it like a pool. And so they basically adopted one of our programs. And so different people who worked for the organization bought Christmas gifts, and then they wrapped them, and then I went and picked them up. And we took them to the youth and dropped them off. We also have organizations who we had a coat drive a couple of months ago. Wow. And so they went and purchased brand new coats, and then they brought them to us. And then we did like a pop-up shop at one of my drop-in centers where the young people were able to come and pick out their own coats. They were able to pick out shoes, clothes, and stuff like that. So, really just thinking about, if you want to get involved, we have a lot of different ways for people to do it. And if you go to the website, you'll see the contact information and all that. And, you just get in contact with somebody from on our side, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Now, thank you so much, Jeffrey, for sharing that. I think it's helpful, obviously, for people to know the creative ways that they can also join and get and be supportive of this program. But with that as well, we talk about the people who are receiving it. For these young people, obviously, the lack of necessities already there. How does that affect their emotional and well-being, you'd say? Yeah,
for sure. So, we have young people who are trying to go to school and trying to get jobs. And so if you're going to school or if you're going on a job interview and you don't have fresh clothes, you're wearing something that you wore yesterday that you had to wash just to make sure that you had it clean, that's a stressor. And so a lot of times what we find is the young people who are able to get to work or to get to school and have something fresh, something new, or at least something that's lightly used, that makes them feel better. And they're very appreciative, right? When they get it, they get excited, and you see their energy just kind of perk up. And so trying to find ways to help get them the access to those resources, that's really what we're looking to do with this Essentials Drive.
Yeah, something you mentioned earlier too was talking about how even if it's work clothes or something they can use when they go to a job interview at
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
Talk to me about how even having those kind of items helps them build their confidence up as well, because that also was a very important part that I was interested in reading about more.
Yeah, for sure. So I had a young lady the other day, she's been looking for a job for a while. And she came to us, she came to one of my case managers looking to see if we can give her some support in getting a whole outfit so that way she can go on the job interview. And so we took her to the store, it was in the Bronx, we took her to the store over there on Fordham, got her a couple of things so that way she was prepared. And she felt confident, she walked in with the resume and she ended up getting the job. Wow. And those are stories that we have happen all the time. And, there's only so much that we can do as a program. And so the more stuff that we can get and have available to them, the easier it is for us to make those experiences happen for our young people, which is also going to in turn allow them to be more likely to get the job, right? And more likely for them to go out into the community, be more confident. As they're moving around, they're not worried as much about how people are perceiving them because their clothes aren't tattered or they don't have a smell. And so those are different things that we know or that we see with our young people. When those things are available to them, they do better. They are more likely to be successful.
Yeah. Now, Jeffrey, as well with that, I want to focus also on another program that you have, which is the Rising Grounds Transitional Independent Living Program as well. Talk to me about how that works and how you are able to help in a non-traditional way to these young people as well.
For sure. So the Transitional Independent Living Program, or TIL as we affectionately call it, is a program where a young person can stay for 2 years or until their 21st or 25th birthday. It depends on what program you're in. We have both here at Rising Ground. Both of them are actually in the Bronx. The largest number of my programs are actually in the Bronx. And so a young person, they come to our program, they're referred to us from either a drop-in center or we get young people who are referred to us from schools. And this is a group home setting. And so in these programs, if you were to walk down the street, you would see a house or it might be like a apartment building, that's our group home. And you wouldn't know, it doesn't look like a shelter or that homeless young people live there, and they come and go as they please. We have case management on site, and most of them have either a roommate or 2 roommates, but some of our programs, the young people have their own room, right? And it might be the first time that a kid even had their own room in their life, right? So they decorate their room. We have showers and stuff so they can, shower as many times as they want. There's no limit on that. We have open kitchens, so all of our young people, they're responsible for cooking for themselves. But for those of the youth who don't know how to cook, we teach them and we do workshops to help them learn how to cook. They have laundry, so they're responsible for doing their own laundry. If they can't do laundry, we teach them. So you really get to have the whole youth experience in an environment that you can feel safe, where you can feel like you're supported, where there's people, where there's staff on duty who can support you in those situations.
Yeah, and it sounds obviously like an important way to empower them as well.
Absolutely,
so with that, Jeffrey, thank you so much for just sharing more about Rising Ground.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
And of course, to learn more about this drive and the different ways you can help support their efforts, please visit the website risingground.org. Stay tuned, we have more open for you right after this.
19.7% of Bronxites currently experience food insecurity. Meanwhile, instead of these nice, colorful foods, this is the best food that they have access to. If this sounds like you, there are a bunch of resources to get healthy food for free or cheap. If you want to help, you might consider donating or volunteering in one of these places. Community fridges like this one are all over the city, and allow New Yorkers to conveniently donate extra food to people who might need it. Go to this link and find your nearest one. Food banks and pop-up events like these provide millions of healthy meals to families in need. These organizations are distributing meals to Bronxites as we speak, and are always accepting donations and volunteers.
Welcome back. Community Access first launched the Changing Minds Young Filmmaker back in 2015 as a way to give young people a platform to share their personal experiences through film. It has now grown to a festival showcasing the films of talented young filmmakers from around the world. Here to speak about this year's festival is the Director of Advocacy for Community Access, Jordyn Rosenthal, and filmmaker Julia Messick. Hello, Jordyn and Julia. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah. So, of course, I gave a little bit of an overview of the importance of the program and how it has grown. But this is also Mental Health Awareness Month. So talk to me about how the organization kind of uses this filmmaking kind of approach to address these issues, of course.
Yeah, so Community Access is a supportive housing provider, which means that we build housing and offer support services on site and have a lot of wraparound services and other things like a supported education program, a peer training program, and even a crisis respite center. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because all of it is about wellness and fighting stigma, and that's a big part of our work. And the Changing Minds Young Filmmaker Festival is really about that. How can we change perceptions about what mental health is, who suffers, or I don't even like saying suffers, but who deals with mental health, what does it look like, and really being able to connect people to feel less alone. So you can kind of be like, wait, oh, that person felt that way too? Oh, cool, or not cool, you know what I mean?
Right, but at least started the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Of like, this is normal, this is happening. With that as well, obviously the film festival is now in its 10th year.
So
Talk to me about
exciting.
this evolution as well of what we've seen over the last 10 years.
Yeah, so the film festival actually first started as like kind of like an auxiliary to the adult version of the Mental Health Film Festival, which was created by my predecessor, this woman named Carla Rabinowitz. And it's really just blossomed into this amazing event where we have filmmakers, like you said, from all over the world who are young people who are coming to say like, hey, mental health doesn't have to fit this one box. And it's a way to, like I said, connect with people and kind of change perceptions.
Right. I mean, and with that as well, obviously we have this showcase of incredible filmmakers, and we have Julia here with us. Congratulations. I mean, you are now being chosen to showcase your film as well. Talk to me about what your film is about and obviously having this opportunity to showcase it as well for more people to see.
Of course. Well, Solstice was really inspired by the harsh winters in New York, the seasonal depression that may come with that. And I'm so happy to be part of this film festival and be able to start conversations about mental health and kind of create a community of people who may feel this way, or even to educate people about these mental health issues that a lot of people are facing.
Yeah. How did you kind of come across the film festival and this opportunity as well?
So I first learned about Community Access as, of course, it's a nonprofit that's helping so many people in New York. And I really appreciated that it was uplifting young filmmakers, because not enough film festivals do that. And, the film festival gives so many opportunities, adding the films to this library of other films that will be screened in, libraries and schools, and that start conversations and, again, create community for people experiencing this. So I thought it was really beautiful.
Now, of course, Jordyn, when you hear about obviously some of these topics that we deal with, like a seasonal depression or these winter blues sometimes that we even hear, how important is it to create a space where we can, one, showcase and see that it is happening, but also talk about it as well?
It's so essential. A big part of my work, even outside of this, is really educating people about the idea of peers. And peers are people with their own mental health lived experience. And, whether it's saying that we need peers on crisis response teams or peers on homeless outreach teams, peers are essential because they make you feel less alone. Peers are the work that are like the glue, right? It's that way that builds community to kind of understand, oh, well, someone else felt that. Or, you know, I don't have to say what my depression feels like because you understand through that lived experience too. That kind of, we can share space without naming the thing. And I think that's really beautiful and so important. And building community is such an important part of wellness. And the other thing that I just think about in relation to this opportunity and Mental Health Awareness Month is art as a modality of wellness. So this film, do you feel like it was cathartic to make it?
Definitely, yeah. I really appreciate, you know, how art can be such a therapy, where you can kind of express something that you don't even really know how to put into words yet. Solstice was very much started by just like a feeling that I wanted to show. And at the time I was writing a lot of poetry. And so I kind of just went out with this idea of I'm going to try to express this feeling through pictures and put it together. And but yes, it's very therapeutic. It's very cathartic.
Yeah,
I
and
picked up what you put down.
we all did at that. I mean, and obviously having that opportunity, Julia, to put something like this together and to showcase it to people, you know, how does that process kind of make it different as well? Because I think sometimes when we're dealing with these mental health components, sometimes it feels very like singular and like you are alone. But to be able to have an opportunity to showcase it to more people and start that conversation as well, how does that feel for you?
Right. I mean, it feels incredible. It's a very vulnerable film, so it may feel a little bit awkward at some points, and I'm sure other filmmakers who kind of express their mental health struggles through film as well feel similarly. But I'm glad it can start conversations. I think that's so incredibly important to show authentic experiences and to connect with other people. I feel like when people watch the film, they have a hard time talking about it even. A lot of people start with, oh, like the cinematography is beautiful, and then ease their way into how they actually felt. So I think, you know, the more we can destigmatize these conversations, the better.
Yeah. When you talk about even destigmatizing this topic, what would you say? I mean, you're one of 10 young filmmakers who are being chosen to showcase your work. You know, what advice would you give to other young filmmakers who maybe are kind of don't know how to talk about these vulnerable topics that can sometimes be empowering on the other side of it, but are at the very start maybe of their journey? What would you tell them?
Definitely. I mean, film does not have to be this huge process of finding a 50-person crew and paying for expensive lights. I very much went out and took my little camera and filmed in the park and then filmed myself. And it doesn't have to, you know, cost anything. It doesn't have to be something you even have to share with people along the way. It can just be something you're making for yourself, and you edit it together and put it out into the world if you feel comfortable. If you don't, that's okay as well. But again, like using art as therapy is so incredibly important and useful, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and with that as well, Jordyn, obviously when you hear about Julia's experience, even taking, like you said, her little camera and being able to take the initiative to get out there and showcase this topic as well, what advice would you give to people maybe who are wondering, should they attend the festival? Why should they go? Like, what would you let them know about attending?
They should totally attend the festival. First of all, it's a magnificent, that came out weird, magnificent location. It's at the Village East Cinema in Lower Manhattan, kind of East Village vibes. And we rent out a whole theater, so it feels very luxurious. We have all of the filmmakers. And, you know, you can get tickets at our website, it's below down there. Sorry.
And for our viewers, of course, it
Yes.
will be on your screens as well, so you can
So
check it out.
please
for sure.
go get tickets. And you can also look at our community access website. And the other thing that I would promote is under the advocacy section, under community access, we have a calendar that has all different events, not only our Young People's Film Festival, but different ways people can get involved in advocacy and fight stigma and change the perception of mental health in New York City.
Wow, that's incredible. And of course, a very important resource at that end. We will make sure we have that website up on the screen for people. I mean, when you also look at kind of how the festival has grown over these last 10 years, and these specific filmmakers who are going to be showcasing this year as well, you know, to see their journey from the outside looking in, and sometimes I'm sure even working with them, how does that feel for you?
Oh, I am like, anyone who knows me says that I'm like a mama bear, big cheerleader. Like, I'm so happy and so proud for all of these young filmmakers. I the work that they did is so amazing. The vulnerability, putting their heart and soul out there for people to comment on, takes a lot of nerve. And I am just so enthralled that they had the ability to say, like, I'm going to make something and put it out there and just see what happens. And I'm really excited for all of their journeys.
Yes. I mean, and speaking about journey, of course, Julia, for you, obviously, having this opportunity, what's next, or what do you want to kind of continue to do from here now when we first see Solstice now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to continue making films that show and screen mental health. One of the films I released recently is called Attached, and it has a similar feeling through like mental health, and it tells a story, of course, that's authentic, and it's more of a narrative rather than this film that's very experimental. So I've been able to start even more conversations that way. But yeah, I would love to continue, and I definitely will be.
Amazing. Now, of course, Jordyn, as we wrap up as well, for people who may be watching and are dealing with some of these mental health struggles as well, what would you tell them about kind of seeking help or just being able to kind of find sources to, help them in their journey as well?
Yeah. So first of all, not enough people know about 988, the 3-digit crisis line. So if you're ever, feel like you need someone to talk to, some kind of thing, please use 988. It's a great resource. Otherwise, really find someone that you feel comfortable with, that, again, that peer identity, and, create a community of support, right? So for instance, I'm a peer. I'm someone who identifies as having mental health concerns, and I may not be in crisis today, but I make sure that I go to therapy and I go to other things to support me to make sure my wellness is okay. So really just encouraging people to develop that support system and have access to tools, because you may not need it right this second, but it's always good to know where it is in your back pocket.
Yeah, and you talked about that hotline right there that people can reach out to.
Yeah.
Can you say it one more time for us?
988.
988, yeah.
So like 911, but 988, and it's just the crisis hotline, and it anywhere in the country it'll work.
That's incredible to hear right there. And even with that, I feel like obviously having an opportunity to also, for them to check out a creative outlet, that is incredible that you guys are doing it. So thank you so much again, Jordyn, Julia, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Of course. And of course, if you or someone you know may want to be interested in checking out this film festival or attending it as well, please go to the website on your screen below to learn more. We have to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Open after this.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with BronxNet Community Media Classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At BronxNet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated BronxNet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with BronxNet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome back. The Cecily Braden lymphatic brushes are not dry brushes, makeup brushes, or cleansing brushes. They are specifically designed to provide an easy, ergonomic, and effective way to aid in the body's detoxification. Welcome back. I'm like, take 19. Welcome back. The Cecily Braden lymphatic brushes are not dry brushes, makeup brushes, or cleansing brushes. They are specifically designed to provide an easy, ergonomic, and effective way to aid in the body's detoxification process and incorporate lymphatic drainage into your self-care routine. Here to give us all the details of this amazing brush is none other than Cecily Braden herself. Hi, Cecily.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, of course, I mean, I explained a little bit about what we have on our table here, and we're going to dive deep into that. But
Okay.
first, I want to know a little bit more about your experience, your background in this self-care and wellness space.
So I started 31 years ago. And in 1994, I started developing protocols for spas and treatments and training. And then for the last 22 years, I've been teaching and preaching the benefits of facial massage. So it's been quite an adventure over the years and ever evolving. And that's really what's led me here to the creation and the development of the lymphatic brush. And you know, just seeing a need and fulfilling it.
Definitely. And I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, we do have it here. But something that I found interesting was that you call it, it's not a dry brush, it's not a makeup brush, or even a cleansing tool. So what exactly is it for people who are wondering what something like this could be?
Yeah, so I think when you see it, a lot of people think, oh, that's just a makeup brush or a cleansing brush because of the textured bristles that it has on it. But it's actually a lot more involved than that. And so the lymphatic brush is a draining device.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that is you may have heard of like a dry brush.
Right.
And some people do dry brushing, which is more familiar. So although it's used on dry skin, the focus of the lymphatic brush is the superficial lymphatic vessel system. So the effectiveness from the brush is due to the combination of this, the firmness of the brush combined with the unique bristle pattern and the textured bristles.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And
yeah.
I mean, so that kind of takes this out of just an average brush. So a big focus
Right.
is the bristles. Talk to me about, obviously, what makes the bristle pattern and the density so unique and helpful in this process as well.
Yeah, and it's really, so the patented design is really what creates the effectiveness. So it's a combination between the denseness, which provides the appropriate pressure when you're using it, and the engagement of the tissue. So the superficial lymphatic vessels reside just below the surface of the skin. So when you're doing manual lymphatic drainage, it's a very light touch, gentle therapy. And so with the denseness, we're able to create the precise pressure.
Okay. I'll do it with you as well,
Okay,
Cecily.
sure, absolutely.
Here we are.
You're able to create the precise pressure needed to be able to manipulate and mimic the natural contraction of the vessel system, or the vessels. And so with the textured bristles, that's what I call the little workers. That's actually what's doing the work. So the density creates the specific pressure, and then the textured bristles manipulate the vessels to propel lymph and stimulate lymphatic flow through them. So it provides the directional flow for lymph in the body.
Yeah, and when you talk about, obviously, they're doing the work, what are some of the benefits of doing a treatment like this?
So the lymphatic system is one of the most important regulatory systems of the body. It's the cornerstone of our immune system. It helps maintain fluid balance. So you think reducing puffiness, edema, swelling, inflammation. It also helps irrigate the tissues. It's often referred to as like a filter in a fish tank, to help filter out all of the excess cellular debris and metabolic waste. I call it clearing the clutter from within your tissue to create space for all the metabolic processes, that healthy exchange of nutrients into the tissue and the removal of excess waste.
Wow. Now, of course, if people are curious about learning more about this or getting a brush themselves, what's the website they can go to visit?
The website is thelymphaticbrush.com. And on the website are all of our global shop links, so it doesn't matter whether you're here in the Bronx or abroad. We have a lot of international distributors. And with that, there's also a tutorial section, which is really important.
Amazing. Yeah.
Because as something new and that's never been introduced before, we've created self-care tutorials that are all free on the website. So anyone can go there, whether they own a brush or not, and just check it out and see if it's something that's right for them.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, I'm being spoiled here today because I don't need a tutorial video. I have Cecily here. I mean, with that, obviously, I also see a smaller brush.
Yes.
So what is kind of the difference between the two for people wondering as well?
So the lymphatic system is a one-way system, and it runs from the tips of our toes all the way to our head. And so I have developed two different brushes that look similar, but the difference is their density and really the use. So the large brush covers more territory. So it's great for the neck, the jawline. I use it for stress reduction, come in and kind of releasing some of the stress and tension in, wherever you have, like in the back of your neck, and also for the full body. Edema and fluid retention in the body is a major issue with a lot of people. And so we have the larger brush that has more dense bristles, and then we have the smaller brush for more intricate areas. A lot of people think this is just for the face, but really you can use a combination of the two. The smaller brush just allows you to work around the more delicate areas, around your eyes. You can even go on the top on your eyelids.
It fits so perfectly as well, like you're mentioning, just like this area.
It's contoured, and that's really what the key is. So the key to the ergonomic design is to make it, one, easy to use, but also to contour all the shapes and the natural geography of your skin. So no matter where you're using it, it's going to fit and contour and be able to stay in contact, because what we're doing with the bristles is we're creating contact and following the lymphatic pathways. And so we want to maintain contact as we provide that directional flow and direct the fluids to those local lymph node clusters and their destination.
Yeah, obviously with having these tools, I am assuming people are okay to practice this at home. Would you recommend they do like the tutorial video, but it's something you can do at home, or find a professional to do it? What would you recommend, obviously, with these tools?
Well, I mean, one of the nice things and the benefits of the lymphatic brush is that you can do it at home. The reason that I developed the brush was because I found I teach professionals, develop protocols, teach professionals, and manual lymphatic drainage, as important as it is for not only skin health, but all over body health and wellness, it's very difficult to perform. And in teaching professionals, I realized that if it's difficult for them to grasp and for them to get the precise pressure and perform it, that was never going to trickle down to self-care. And so it's kind of the reason for the brush. So what I realized is that there wasn't anything on the market that allowed people to incorporate lymphatic drainage into their self-care routine at home easily and took the work out of it. So you don't need any in-depth knowledge. You literally need to just connect the texture bristles with the skin and follow the lymphatic pathways. And all of those charts and self-care kind of guides are on the website as well.
Website. Yeah. Well, but that's incredible. I mean, and with that, obviously having you here as the expert, what would you recommend as well of how many times a day to do this, or how many times a week, or can it be a daily self-care thing? What would you kind of recommend? When
and wherever you can. believe very strongly that self-care should not be stressful. It's another reason I love the lymphatic brush so much is while you're using it, you can be laying on the couch watching Netflix, you can be getting ready to go to work, you can be at work. I use it during the day for a little stress reduction. If I'm starting to get brain fog, I'll pick up usually the large brush and just kind of give myself some wiggles and some zigzags and just start to drain and give my mind kind of a reset. It's used often as a nervous system reset as well, so it kind of gets you out of your funk and focused.
Wow. Well, I will definitely be putting this to good use, Cecily. I mean, with that, obviously, to go from being this expert, teaching other people about this work, to now creating something that can be so compact that people can bring home to practice self-care at home, how does that feel for you to obviously have this journey and now see it in this product as well?
Well, now you're going to make me cry. It's, you know, the lymphatic brush has gone beyond all expectations. I'm an esthetician and an educator, and when I developed it, it was to fill a need. And in the aesthetics world, it's reducing puffiness and dark circles and fine lines and all of these things that you know, kind of are in need when you're in that space. And the feedback that I started to receive immediately was how relaxed people felt, that it helped to calm them. And then I started to receive feedback about mothers with kids that have autisms and ADHD and how it provided them some relief, and it was a great distraction and kind of for them. And then brain health. Beyond that, and then people, of course, who have to manage inflammation through lymphedema, and pre-post cancer, and the benefits just started to unfold.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously now we are seeing it through this, and like you mentioned, we can visit the website to learn more. So, I mean, Cecily, thank you so much for being an expert here. I'm gonna have you hang out with me here because I need more tips. But of course, for our viewers to learn more about this brush and all of its benefits, please visit the website at thelymphadicbrush.com. We've come to the end of our show today. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us, and of course you, the viewers, for tuning in. If you've missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast at 5 and 8 p.m. tonight on Optimum Channel 67 and Verizon Fios 33, or watch anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. You can catch a brand new episode of Open with Darren Jaime on Wednesday and with Rina Valentin on Friday. I'm Jonathan Calixto. Stay informed, stay inspired, and stay safe. Until next time. Cecily, again, thank you so much. You were amazing. Yes.